Hey, welcome back. We have a pen here. There's been a trend the last few years in the market where knife makers have made pens, and I don't know if it ever went the other way around, to be honest. Did any pen makers make knives? Yes, Tactile Turn would be a good example. Machine-wise, is a knife maker that made a pen, actually, not the other way around. Yeah, anyways, Koenig made the PQD, and I've been very hesitant to buy this, but I thought when I saw this example that this was about as pocket priorities as it gets, and I bit the bullet and went for it. So here she is, the Koenig PQD, made in the USA from titanium. And this one happens to be the first batch that was dropped at the California Custom Knife Show, I believe it was, CCKS. Box not balanced without pen, noted. But yeah, I've been eyeing it and thinking I'd like to get my hands on it at some point, but never quite got myself to pull the trigger. Looks like, speaking of pull the trigger, this one came loaded. Interesting. A very interesting mechanism. Very manual feeling. A little rough. Now apparently this pre-production, you know, it is sort of pre-production per se, but also before they've probably perfected a few things. I've heard they've done some work on these since. So we'll take it, you know, somewhat with a grain of salt, but first impressions, light. My very first impression is that this pen is light. It's got a unique mechanism to be able to push and pull it back like that. It's interesting. I also noticed like right away that the pocket clip, which has a pretty sharp little edge there, has a little bit of rubbing here on the, I don't know if you call it the scale, the flute, the body of the pen rather. But yeah, interesting mechanism indeed. What's pretty cool about it is like there's this seamless look while it's here where this pocket clip kind of floats without any apparent like gaps or anything. Like if you look under there, there's not like a gap that gets filled in. It's just floating over the body, which is kind of neat. So the only gap must be here under the actual pocket clip. I'm not gonna try and disassemble this on this video today. This is just an unboxing, but nice milling under the clip there. Nice little grip where it's not like too rough up here. Speaking of rough, sorry for my fingers right now. We've been doing a lot of housework and biking and stuff the last few days. But that feels really good in hand there. So let's just give that a little feel. Always like to pull out the notepad and do a little testing 1, 2, 3 here. Pen testing, as I say, it's my little cybersecurity joke. And you're not going to see anything too extraordinary. It's a G2 refill. Overall, the feel's pretty good. I like the seamlessness on the tip with the refill. That looks like very cohesive. Sometimes the refills kind of jettison out in a weird way. This is like it seems very precise how they were able to do that. So that's pretty cool. Now, let's talk about the price. This is why I didn't get it until now. $265 plus I think 15 shipping for this. If I recall correctly, it's $265 or $280 plus 15 shipping from Koenig. I just reviewed the Grimsmo Rask, so it's very top of mind right now. This mechanism is unique, but it's not as impressive. Like it goes in a pretty intuitive way. Just to, you know, qualify it, the Grimsmo comes in a much nicer box. It does cost $330 for a base level Rask, but it is a much more impressive mechanism where you kind of have this reverse effect of you're pushing this way and it's going that way on the ring. It's pretty cool. This feels really good and it's smooth for the most part. Like it's not super smooth, but it's pretty damn smooth. This is a little rough. I don't know if that's something they've improved since, but it's definitely a little rough. And it just honestly feels like a kind of cheap click pen. Like Bic could come up with this mechanism if I had to guess. It doesn't feel like something special like this, where it feels like there's some pretty cool engineering that must have gone into figuring out how to make this work this way. The fit and finish on the Saga feels a little higher end, but the weight on this is actually pretty impressive because it's very much a full size. So I like the size of this, and yet it feels pretty light for what it is. So let's take a quick look on some specs here. So this is weighing in at 0.965 for like a very full-size pen. And when I say very full-size, just to put it in perspective, there's a Smooth Precision Pen's full-size. This is definitely a full-size pen, so it feels light for what it is. Now when it's deployed, let's compare them both deployed like for like here. It's pretty close when it's deployed in terms of its efficiency. But you're usually carrying it not deployed, so I'm pretty particular about the efficiency of the pen when it's not deployed, and that's where the Smooth Precision Pens is going to have something like this beat. And same with the Grimsmo Saga. It's just a little more efficient pound for pound, but it actually weighs a bit more. It's like 1.1 ounces there for a smaller pen. So I like the weight to size ratio more perhaps on the Koenig. But the overall fit and finish, this feels like I understand why they're trying to charge. Like I want it to be $250, but I understand, okay, you're charging $330. I want it to be $250. I don't want this to be $250. I want this to be $125. This feels like $125 pen to me. So there are elements of it that are very nice. I really do like this kind of unique dimpling here. It's like a ring and a dimple at the same time, ring and a dot, I don't know what you want to call it. That is a really nice feel. It's like a really nice balance, like where it doesn't feel like you're going to slip as much as if it wasn't there, but it also doesn't like feel abrasive in your fingers. So I do like that. Just overall, the mechanism doesn't quite do it for me. Cool to get the pre-production version of it. I might consider keeping it. I might consider selling it. I'm not 100% decided on that, but it's not blowing me away. Definitely not in my top 5, and not sure if it makes my top 10. I don't think so. I don't think this makes my top 10 list. Definitely not for the price. Whereas the Saga, it's in my top 10 list, but it's like value qualified, not for everyone. Nice execution for what it is, but what it is not blowing me away here. So Koenig PQD, not bad, but not feeling like, if you're not a Koenig fanboy, I don't know that this is the pen for you. Like it's not going to do something that other pens wouldn't. It is completely silent. I will give it that. It is completely silent. Like one of the most solid feeling pens I've handled in terms of like there is no rattle whatsoever, and that's probably because there's such tight tolerances there. Ooh, I didn't even realize that that's where the turn line was, or the separation, so I'll give it credit there as well. I'm just kind of curious how they get that to stay so solid in there. Interesting. It seems like a pretty standard G2 spring, but they must have done some really nice internal milling in the tip to make sure that that G2, sorry, you can't really get a good glimpse in there, but that really runs and doesn't move around in any position, deployed or not deployed. It's very good from that perspective. So yeah, did end up disassembling it after all. Now I'm kind of curious. That's kind of more satisfying when it's empty because it makes a kind of cool sound. If it made that sound when it was together, I might actually even feel a little different about it, just because it's kind of a unique sound. But yeah, like I said, it's a pen where I appreciate it for what it is, but I want it to be 125, maybe 150, just because it's Koenig. Don't like the, what I feel like is pretty significant price for the vendor. There are definitely some touches and elements that are really nice, like the top with the Koenig, the pocket clip with this nice little milling here and this milling up here. Those are nice elements. And the body satin is a really nice finish. You don't feel like the turns or anything like that, which I like. So there's things I like about it, but yeah, the mechanism is really important to me, and I just don't love this mechanism. It's not my favorite. But I could see myself using the pen. If I had to, if this was my one pen and I only had one, I could throw GT refills in this for as long as it would last, and that'd be fine. Don't get me wrong. There's some things I really like about it. One of the things I do like is sort of the uniformity of the body. It just feels very straight from tip to tail. A bit much on the pocket clip, like it's a bit bulgy, but do like the milling on it and stuff. So yeah, goods and bads on this one. A little torn on kind of my final conclusion there, but overall glad to have gotten to handle it. So appreciate the seller for making this happen. That's all for now. If you like the content, please feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.